Someone spoke, but the MC couldn't quite catch what they said. He gets confused, then suddenly wakes up in a lonely, empty spot. He grumbles that his head is killing him. The guy remarks that a foul, rotting smell hangs in the air and he can't figure out where he is. Then he stands up, finding himself perched on top of the building. And when he looked down, he was stunned to see the crowd below. Something feels wrong, and when he takes a closer look, he jumps back in fear to see they are actually zombies. The boy steps back in terror, staring at the scene unfolding before him, wondering how he went from being safe in the normal world to this strange place in just a few seconds. He rummages through his pockets, looking for his phone to check online what just happened, but he simply can't find it. He reaches into his pocket and finds the bag of chips he bought at the store earlier. But with only a bag of chips left to eat before his life ends, he wonders why he didn't have a girlfriend first when a woman suddenly steps out of the open rooftop door. She began to walk, so the MC hid himself to stay out of her sight. The guy wonders how zombies climbed up there and thinks he's dead, but the girl sticks a knife into the water tank and starts washing herself off with the falling water since she's so dirty. The boy is so angry that a zombie would do that. As she washes her face, the MC realizes she is just a normal human. He steps on a rock, making a loud noise. She spots the danger and readies herself to strike. She rushes to find him, and the boy greets her the moment she arrives. Then he gets knocked right in the face. She points a gun at his face and orders him to speak while he screams for her to stop before she kills him. She angrily asks who he is, but the guy starts to feel nervous when he sees her. His body begins to sweat, and he has no idea what to do next. The girl is so mad at how he's acting that she slaps him right across the face. She screams that she'll kill him, and the boy turns pale and begs her to stop. Out of nowhere, a flying beast dives toward them, but the girl leaps aside just as she prepares to strike. The monster lunged, its claw just inches from crushing the hero. He is furious as something strikes the creature. The girl begins firing at it, realizing the zombie mutant is super tough because the bullets aren't even hurting it. With her eyes damaged, it now stumbles aimlessly back and forth in the cramped, escapeless space where they risk drawing even more zombies. With a huge body and a hurt leg, the monster moves very slowly. The monster bellows out a terrible roar, and the girl pulls her sword from its sheath. It has a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth built just for tearing through zombies. The monster begins to move toward her. Across the gap, the main character shouts out to her, telling her to watch out. The girl attacks and tears the monster's arm off in one fast motion. As the monster hits the ground, the girl quickly wraps the weapon around its neck. After finishing, she grabs a glowing blue stone and remarks that the zombie's core looks fantastic. She complains that she just took a bath and is already dirty again.
He turns to the MC, calling him a wimp and demanding to know which faction he belongs to.
The boy panics, muttering that the horror movies he watches must have made this crazy dream, so he starts shoving the chips into his mouth. She snatches the bag of chips right out of his hands. She asks who the boy is and where he got that life-giving food, and when the MC tries to joke about chips, she cuts through his humor to demand he tell her his faction and why he has such a precious treat, making him realize the blades on her skin mean she is truly real. As the MC screams out his name, Qin Shuang, just some random guy, he explains he bought those chips at a supermarket. Suddenly a bullet strikes the girl in the leg. She spins around fast as things crash down from above, and Qin Shuang rushes to ask if she's alright. The girl thinks she doesn't know why these zombie mutants are chasing her, but she's sure someone is pulling the strings behind it all. Looking down from above, one man praises the girl's amazing skills and calls it a genius idea to send the zombies after her to finish the job, while another man jumps in to agree and even calls himself a genius. Another man grows worried and asks the leader what they'll do if she catches them, but the leader reassures him that the bullet is poisoned with corpse toxin and will kill her instantly. Qin Shuang worries that her leg looks wrong, and the girl says the bullet was poisoned. Even though she can't catch the normal zombie bug, this new toxic virus is so deadly that she's definitely going to die. She explains that the 17th faction shot them because they want the zombie core she just got, and if they get caught, both of them will die. Qin, trembling with fear, asks what they should do next. She tells him she'll stay behind to hold off the bad guys so he can get away, but he worries and asks what will happen to her. She warns that her penicillin-curing wound will turn her into a zombie who can't run, so Kid must find her sister and get her to run before it's too late. Kim can't believe that a tiny penicillin pill could possibly stop a zombie virus. The girl gets frustrated because she says penicillin is really hard to find. She promises to hold them off with a later shot, giving Kin a narrow window to slip out through the rooftop door while the smoke is still thick. She tells him where her sister is, so he must warn her, and the girl gives Kin a piece of paper. As the girl opens fire, Kin snatches the moment to bolt. Holding the paper, he realizes she sacrificed everything to let him run free, yet now he's walking away from her. In his world, penicillin is easy to find, but suddenly a strange system window pops up asking if he wants to start a dimensional transfer. The girl asks him what he's doing, then yells for him to run. Kin asks the system if he can come back to his normal world, and the system says yes. Then Kin declares he must jump straight back home to his own world. Suddenly, he finds himself waking up in a hospital bed. The whole city was thrown into chaos. In the hospital, doctors and nurses move down the long hallways. Kin dashes through the hallways in a desperate search for penicillin. In another dimension, the girl sat right on the floor. She thinks Kin needs to go look for his sister. The man who attacked her claims that since she stopped shooting, she's already too weak to fight back. He shouts for everyone to step forward so they can finally grab their prize. While back in the real world, a nurse warns Kin to stop running down the hallways. He spots a few bottles of penicillin sitting on her cart. The boy snatches up as many as he can and bolts away. He screams out for the world to change and instantly finds himself back in the other realm, standing right next to the girl. He nudges her gently and checks to see if she's still breathing. The girl screams at him to leave because he's crazy, but he just hands her a vial of penicillin and insists it's real, so when she's shocked and asks how he got it, he tells her not to ask too much. He also says she won't die and they'll make it out together. He hands her the medicine, she hesitates but takes it, and then Kin nervously asks if she feels better. After a while, the girl starts to feel better as the poison finally leaves her body. She is so impressed, she asks Shin what kind of penicillin that is. Suddenly, a noise from the rooftop door makes them freeze. The girl shoved Kid away and screamed for him to hide fast. The boy tumbles into a hole, complaining that his back hurts and how strong the girl really is. Up on the roof, the members of the 17th faction stepped in. Their boss orders the rest of the group to hunt down the girl, promising they can do whatever they want with her if she's still breathing. She stood holding her sword and asked if they were looking for her. She tells us she's been waiting for them. The leader couldn't believe the girl was still alive. As soon as the girl appeared, everyone turned and sprinted away from her. Ken feels he can finally stop worrying about her. He spots a notebook on the table, puzzled by the label on the cover that calls it an adult diary. As he reads through the notebook, he realizes the person who wrote it isn't acting normal at all. On July 21, 2080, the diary's owner noticed a lovely girl washing clothes in the house across the street. On July 22 that year, the company's new boss, a woman with an amazing figure, sat down beside him, and soon whispers started spreading about a new virus. Yet, staring at that new manager, he wasn't even scared of the virus. Him here, she became a monster that hunted him down. The whole company had to stay locked away from everyone. He was stuck inside his office with no way out. By July 24, 2080, the virus had taken over most people, leaving him with nothing but his last food pack. On July 25, 2080, he decided to head out on his own to find food after finally reaching his limit. He walked away and the streets were empty. In the stores, the only thing happening was fights in supermarkets and drugstores. People lost their minds and snatched up everything they could find. He finally got some food and medicine, but then watched in horror as someone got bitten right before his eyes. On August 3, 2080, he penned a note saying the TV signal had died 2 days before, when the anchor warned that everyone was about to perish. By August 17, the food was all gone, so if he left that room he'd probably get bitten, and he was already so hungry and near the end that it felt like his time was up. Across the street, a woman screamed from her home because she was in danger. He watched her scream and get hurt until her own husband killed her. The boy couldn't stop wondering what the man was doing. Then he realized the husband was actually eating her flesh. He looked so starved that the boy had to vomit just from looking at him. By August 19, only 4 days had passed without food, and he was already dying of hunger. Just as he was about to give up, a knock at the door broke the silence. Someone inside called out to ask if anyone had penicillin. He swapped a mountain of food for penicillin, and the medicine did a great job fighting off the virus. On August 21, he watched in shock as someone ate a dead zombie. He couldn't quite tell if that thing was actually safe to eat. On August 30, someone stole everything he had, including his only hope for recovery. On September 1, he made the brave choice to walk out his door, even though the world outside was crawling with infected. If he held on, he could keep finding food or copy what that man did. When he stumbled onto the zombie, he drew his knife, knowing the fight was for his life or theirs. The diary was empty, holding nothing but silence. It felt like he never came back home, and maybe he had even passed away. Now Kin finally understood what happened in that world. The infected had turned into zombies. Another crucial thing to remember is that in that world, the power of penicillin is worth more than gold. While everyone in his world frantically hunts for the cure, he can just walk into a shop and buy it. That means he has plenty of money in that world. The boss of the 17th group aims his gun at Kin and claims he holds the penicillin box that once saved the girl. He snatches up the medicine bottle and promises that taking it to the faction will earn him a higher rank. The leader vows to kill Kin, but the boy screams that he has more to give. A girl rushes into the room and screams for them to stop shooting him. The leader shouts at her to stand back or Kin will die. With the weapon gripped tightly in her hand, she warns the man that if he ever hurts Kin, she will cut off his head. She warns that their fight has already drawn in a swarm of zombies, so if the man releases Kin now, they might just make it out alive. Everyone there will die if they don't leave right away. They climbed back up to the rooftop. The man keeps Kin held captive while the girl commands him to release her. With a roar of fury, the man yells that Sha Younglin wiped out his men, and now she has to pay for it. He tosses a hook to the nearby building, shoves Kin towards Shao, and vanishes while the man warns that next time he'll turn her into zombie food. The girl snaps in anger right as Kim tries to get comfortable in her arms. Shao asks Shin just how long he thinks he can keep holding that pose. When night falls, the streets are filled with so many zombies. Shao peeks through the window and says they need to leave this zombie-filled place soon, but first, they should rest a little. Before anything else, she wants to ask him who he is and where he got those rare items. Kim thinks the show looks great in this broken world, but he has to be careful with his words and needs an excuse for now. Kim throws a bottle of penicillin to her. Sho stands speechless as the boy offers her a gift he earned by saving him, while Kin promises her rewards if she stays by his side. The girl asks if he's being serious, but Kin tells her not to be shy and to just take him up on his offer, since he can even get even rarer things. Shao is amazed, and Kin nods to say it's really true. He insists he can find just about any kind of food you crave. The girl gets tempted and tells him to stop talking about food. She refuses to protect him because he could be from an enemy group, but Kin insists he isn't part of any faction at all. The boy tells her she can picture him living happily in a perfect magical world where everything is wonderful. The girl realizes Kin is truly wise and that his medicine saved her life. She promises to protect him from now on, but warns that if he lies to her, she will kill him. Happy, Kin says she can call him Brother Shang. He asks if he can ask her a few questions now that their deal is done, and she says yes. Shia was ready to teach him all about the end of the world. The R virus wiped out 80% of humanity, turning the world into a nightmare where only zombies roamed among the few survivors. Zombie cores, which mix the traits of plants and minerals, can be eaten to make potions, used as backup power, or kept for later use. There are 3 kinds of evolution potions that might spark a change between 20 and 35% of the time, while the glowing core can power everything alone or work as part of a larger group. The new R virus evolves fast and ignores modern antibiotics, yet old ones like penicillin still kill it, but making it has become so hard that it is now almost impossible to find. Once the world fell apart, people broke into small groups like ancient tribes, forming 3 main groups: the 17th faction, the Earth Builders, and the Climbers. The team they met back there was the 17th faction, a crew of violent thugs hunting for cash who won't even blink at eating fresh human flesh, even the women. Kim stops and thinks, slowly realizing the truth. Zhao warns that the area is overrun with zombies, so since she has to keep Kin safe, they need to find somewhere to rest. She tells him to get some rest while promising to stay up to keep watch. The girl remains perfectly still, and Kin thinks that just by looking at her face, you can see she's a survivor who can handle anything. The boy asks the system to bring him back to the 21st century. The dimensional shift begins, and Kin opens his eyes. Everything happened in a flash, then a woman stared at him with a happy smile because he was awake. The boy jumps up in a sudden startle. The girl standing before him asks Shin to handle things gently. He asks the girl, who he calls the landlady, what she is doing there. She says he ran off like a madman, but the doctor says he'll be fine, so she has made herself his emergency contact and will pay for his treatment. She asks if he's angry and offers to feed him. Hint can't speak, so she giggles and offers to cook him some noodles. The girl tells him there's no food there, so she's going to buy some and asks what he needs, and he hands her a list. Once he's by himself, he takes a close look at the ancient system. It looks like a glowing mark is showing up right on his arm. It's pretty straightforward. There's storage, dimensional jumping, and a power switch, but he's stuck on how to turn it on and wonders if it needs charging first. She rushes back with her shopping bags, complaining that she's completely drained. Ian stands up wanting to help, but the girl tells him not to move. After all, he's a patient. The girl is Jiang Lakshu, a rich heiress, and even if he were blind, he'd know she's head over heels for him. But since he has no money and cannot make her happy, he decides not to return her feelings. Now that he possesses the primordial system, he can grow by traveling between 2 worlds, earn money, and maybe finally be together with her. The door swung open and someone stepped inside. Jiang Lok jumps at the sight of her uncle Xiao and asks what he is doing there. He told her that her dad sent him to bring her to dinner. Angril tells the man she's busy and won't go, but he doesn't care, so Xiao pushes her out to say it's her father's order. He kicks her out, telling her to wake up downstairs, but when she asks what he's going to do, he just slams the door. Zhou stares at Qin as the boy offers help, but Xiao warns that while they thought they were done, he's still stuck on Jiang Luoku, and the man wonders if the money given to Qin was ever enough. He tells Qin to be honest if she wants more money, but warns her never to return because her father will never let them be together. Qin wonders what life would look like if he suddenly became rich. Zhao says everyone hits their worst times, but watching how Qin has acted so far, he thinks they'll never make it that far. Ingya's face turns serious as Zhou wakes him in the other world, where the sun is already up and they have to leave right away. It will take an hour to get to the base. They leap from roof to roof, dodging the hungry zombies below. After a while, Xiao announces that they've finally made it. She tosses a rock at the gate. The door swung open and they both stepped inside, where Xiao pointed and declared, "That's our home." Qin notices the spot is perfectly hidden from the outside, looking like nothing is there, but the girl pushes ahead and tells him to hurry. She talks to the bandaged Ryu and tells him she's returned with the penicillin. The boy was totally shocked to see it was Xiao's sister. He beams with excitement, handing the penicillin to Ryu and promising she'll feel better soon. Qin stopped and wondered if that was her sister and what had become of her. Xiao told me a zombie attacked her, so she went out to fight some zombies and trade cores for penicillin, but she walked right into an ambush. Worried, Ryu asks if she was ambushed too and if she's hurt. The girl says she's okay because a friend got her the penicillin, and Ryu thanks Qin for saving her life. Qin gets nervous and says she doesn't need to thank him, but he reflects that for two girls who survived so much, this is truly a miracle. The BMCs are still walking around outside. Shows up with food, and Qin is overjoyed since he's starving. He digs in with a big grin, only to gag and spit it out moments later when he tastes how awful it really is. The girl asks if things are really that bad and says she never thought it was anything strange. The boy asks if they usually eat that kind of stuff. Confused, Shou asks why he's crying, admitting it feels awful, but Qin shakes his head and says it's just because he feels really sorry for them. He tells her to stop eating that garbage and wait a moment, but she's confused because it was hard to get, so he digs in his pocket and asks her to open her mouth. Qin feeds her a bite to eat. He finds it delicious, loving the fresh milk aroma and sweet taste. Qin reaches out to ask if she's alright and why she's just standing still. The girl made a happy noise to show just how much she loved the food. The boy claims he has even more. As soon as she sees him, she pleads for him to give her everything he has. She eats everything he offers, but in her rush, she takes a bite out of Qin's hand too. She finally lets go, admits it's too good to be true, and asks if he has any more. Qin dumps all the sweets from his pocket onto the table. Joe gives one to his sister with a big smile on his face. Ryu loves the sweet taste and asks what it is, so the girl tells him it's a cream candy the boy gave her. Ryu takes a bite, declares it delicious, and says it makes her feel so alive. Excited, Xiao tells her sister to eat slowly, but Kim tears up as she realizes how heartbreaking it all is. He piles their plates with plenty of delicious food. The girl gasped, realizing these snacks were just stories she'd read in books. Impressed, Joe asks if all that is truly for them, and Qin confirms it with a promise of even more surprises to come. The girl turns red and hands Qin something. She carries a bag stuffed with zombie cores that she has gathered. The kid sees that as the zombie cores get closer, the mark on his arm starts burning, which makes him wonder if they are connected. The boy says he'll take it all, even though it's so precious, and asks her if she's truly sure she wants to give it all to him. Chow points out that the penicillin he shared healed her and her sister, proving the supplies he brought are far more valuable than those zombie cores. She offers to pay him off later, but Qin shakes his head and instead points her toward the bathroom. The girl points it out, so Qin heads over. The bathroom is nothing more than a square room with a hole in the floor. Qin realizes the hole goes down much deeper than he thought. So he goes to the bathroom and examines the zombie cores, discovering a strange link between one of them and his own arm. As the core sinks into his skin, the system buzzes with news that his dimensional jumps have leveled up, letting him leap across 3 worlds instead of just 2. Qin gets so excited to add more zombie cores that he's not paying attention, and they tumble right down the toilet hole. When he feels ready to unleash his 9-dimensional jumps, he holds back his power to use later. When he glances into the bag, he sees that almost nothing is left inside. He wonders where his cores have gone. He glanced down into the hole and finally understood what had happened. Qin stands speechless, walks out of the bathroom with a heavy heart, and when Cho asks what's wrong, he just stays silent. Outside, the streets are packed with zombies. When dinner time comes around once more, Cho hands out that same terrible meal to them. Qin asks why you're eating that when he already gave you plenty to eat. The girl wonders how he can eat such precious food all at once, but Qin just tells her not to worry because he has more. Confused, she asks if he didn't give him all his food. The boy feels weird using the system right now, but he really needs enough food to feed 3 people for a few days. Qin claims he is a merchant with fresh stock arriving all the time, prompting Xiao to wonder why he didn't tell her sooner. He told her he still didn't trust her. The next morning, Qin heads out to grab the goods, saying goodbye as he goes. Xiao shouts to wait and hands him a little gun. The boy wonders why the gun is so tiny, but she explains that it isn't about size, because that one packs a huge punch. Just as he steps away, she offers to come with him, but Qin politely says no and promises to return quickly. He keeps walking away, while Ryu stands up and shouts for Xiao. The girl is shocked to see her sister standing there, and Ryu says the penicillin worked wonders. Ryu tells Shia to quietly follow Kin and see where he's going. He looks and acts so out of place here that he seems to have no idea what the rules are, and even though he's been generous, you can't really trust him. After taking a few steps, Kin decides he's walked far enough. Then he activates the dimensional jump to leap back into our normal world. He rolls out of the hospital bed, ready to walk away because he simply can't pay the bills anymore. Out on the street, he snatches up his phone. He's been out of work for months, his money is gone, and even though we thought he was rich, he's actually just broke. Still, he has to head to the market to find the rare things he needs in this wasteland. In this broken world where food and medicine are life, he has no way to sell them without getting robbed by the dangerous 17th faction. Kin rings up all that food at the checkout. John is very good at fighting zombies, but she knows another group might be able to help too. The cashier handed him the total of 1,000. Kin makes it home and stows the gear in his ship's storage, using the time to pack extra clothes since every jump costs a fortune. He feels a heavy sadness remembering the zombie cores he lost. In the zombie world, Jo wonders if her tracking skills are truly that bad, since Kin just vanished. She stays where she is, waiting to see if he shows up again. Kin steps back into that world holding a box. He grabs all the gear himself to hide his plan, only to realize he's now surrounded by a horde of zombies. Kin looks around, confused by the sudden swarm of zombies and wondering what could have caused it. He stares across the gap to the nearest roof, but it's just too far a jump. Kin decides that heading back is the better choice. But the zombies start crawling up toward him. The monster rushes straight at him. Scared, Kin tumbles backward and clings to a wire just as zombies tumble off. Kin wants to jump dimensions, but the system pauses to ask if he'd rather get a boost by unlocking the quick climb skill. The boy cries out that he can hold on much longer and begs for a jump, while the system confirms he has 7 skill points and only needs 1 to make it happen. Kin wonders what kind of system this is and tells it to do the upgrade. The system brings the brand new skill to life. Now he can lift his entire body weight with just 1 hand, and it feels as light as a feather. He could stride along the wire as if it were solid ground beneath his feet. Kin feels so pumped up right now, he's basically flying around like Spider-Man. He swings across the wire like Spider-Man while Xiao watches him go. She realizes she was wrong to think he was just an ordinary guy because his powerful skills prove Ru is right to be suspicious. Kin lands himself on the rooftop of the building right next door. He spots that the original path is blocked by zombies, so he must climb high to find a way back to the base, and he starts scaling the sides of the buildings with his wall climbing skill. He felt thrilled, knowing he still had more powers waiting to be unlocked. Peering into the building he's inside, he spots a bunch of zombies waiting for him. The moment they see him, they all get worked up. The kid laughs at the zombies stuck behind the glass, but soon the pane starts to crack. The boy stops moving just as the glass breaks under the zombie's heavy weight. Ekron suddenly starts charging straight at him. He hits the neck, and the head drops right off. Kin can't help but wonder the moment he first found the strength to rip those zombies apart with his bare hands. He also hits it in the neck to finish it off. He realizes he's trapped by the monsters, so he jumps to a safe spot just outside the building. That was barely a close call, and this world is really dangerous. Ken felt lighter when he checked his backpack and found it missing, having fallen onto the floor where the zombies waited. Ken bursts into tears, wondering how this disaster could have happened after he spent all his money and lost everything, even his supplies. Knowing this is his only shot at getting rich, he rushes back to the shattered glass and shouts to the zombies so they'll come over. As they reach out to grab him, they all begin to tumble down. Many of them tumble out the window. He peeks inside and finds that the room is mostly empty now. He steps in, grabs his backpack, and realizes even zombies are surprisingly fragile. Something grabs his eye, and he wonders if it was a real shadow or just a trick of his mind. But then a creature shows up and smiles right back at him. It moves fast and is huge, but Kin has frozen in place. Something hurt charges straight at him. The monster throws Kin hard against the wall. He takes a hit and dashes away, only to hear the creature laughing at his desperate run. Kin realizes the zombie is moving too fast for him to see coming, and while he could run to safety, he knows he'll have to return eventually. Faced with a tough decision, he orders the system to drain every zombie core to fuel the upgrade. After reaching level 6 and unlocking Fearless Focus and a firm base, Kin swiftly dodges the zombie, his new quick movements and perfect timing letting him see clearly and strike with deadly precision. He keeps running away from the zombie's endless chase, but she keeps coming after him, and even after he uses up every last skill point, the only thing he can do is keep running. Kin is getting frustrated because, even though he's fast, his energy is running out. He won't be around for long. If he hesitates for just a moment, it's game over. The boy hit the ground and looked right at the scary monster. The zombie is lunging right at you, getting closer every second. Kin grabs a piece of wood and sticks it through the monster, but the zombie just starts shaking and laughing while still alive, making Kin complain that they aren't dead yet. Outside, the zombies start to stir. Kin pries open the zombie's chest and pulls out its glowing heart. He's completely worn out, but he feels glad he finally got something out of it. After a while, Kim makes her way back to the base. Cho watches in amazement, wondering just how he managed to slip away. His fighting moves are just as sharp as hers. The gate swings open, and Kin bursts in, grinning as he tells them he's brought something awesome for them. Cho's sister shows up, looking fantastic, and asks if her brother Shong has returned. Confused, he asks who she is now that the girl has no bandages. She gives a warm smile and introduces herself as Ru. She sees he's soaked in blood and worries he's hurt, but he just laughs and says it's only zombie blood. Ryu warns him not to lie and offers to take a look, so he agrees. As she steps nearer, Kin's heart swells with joy. Then the girl says she's relieved he isn't hurt, then adds that since he's filthy, she's going to clean him up. Kin is totally lost and doesn't know what to do about the bath. Rui tells them they've got almost no water left, so they have to save every drop. While the water washes over her, Ryu stands calmly beneath the shower. Kin's heart races as she pushes him on, terrified that Sho might kill him if she finds out what he's hiding. Confused, Ryu wonders why her sister is angry, especially since they usually bathe together. Then she snaps at him to stop dawdling and climb in. Kin nods in agreement and climbs right into the shower. He freezes in shock as the girl smiles, but right behind him, Xiao suddenly steps into view. Xiao asked Kin what he had seen. He told them he couldn't see anything because his eyes were so bad since he was a kid that he couldn't even spot something right in front of his face. Later, Kin tries to change the topic by showing Xiao what he brought back to the base. He pulls out the fruit he bought to make sure they eat a balanced diet. The girl couldn't believe her eyes when she saw that banana. Kin asks if she likes that fruit and tells her not to be shy, just eat it. She munches on the banana with a big smile on her face. His eyes light up with joy as she shouts, "I love bananas." Kin gets jittery, and Ru jokes that with all this food it feels like a dream. Xiao questions if Kin truly means it when he gives them such a precious gift. Kin tells her he promised to protect her, and as long as she keeps him safe, he will never let them down. The girl realizes she must keep her promise, even though she only watched from the shadows when he was in danger earlier. The boy admits he spent every penny he saved and now has to figure out a fast way to earn some money. Confused, Xiao asks why he needs the money, calling it just old paper that's only good for wiping your butt. He says he's looking for gold and treasure, which is exactly what his trading business is about. Xiao stands up, grabs the thing she was using to hold the table steady, and hands Kin a pile of free gold bars, asking if that's enough. The boy stood puzzled until he figured out he was actually holding real gold. The girl admits that's what it's called, but says it's useless here, then asks if that counts as treasure to him. If that's true, there are probably 5 or 6 more hiding under the tables. She suggests he take them since the others won't miss them anyway. That night, the happy boy with his new gold goes to sleep. As someone steps closer, Kin believes he's finally wealthy enough to be with Jiang Laku. Ru lifts his knife and points it right at Kin. She swings her blade down quickly, but a hand catches hers before it can strike. Xiao leans over to ask what her sister is up to. The girl whispers that if they kill him right now, all his things will belong to them. Xiao reminds her that he saved their lives with his penicillin, so they can't repay his kindness by betraying him. Ryu wonders if her sister has forgotten how Pushurang earned their trust by selling them to the 17 faction. If Xiao hadn't pulled him out of the bath sooner, she would have let him slip away right then. But Xiao insists Kin isn't that traitor, for no one could possibly pay enough money to buy even 1 vial of penicillin. Kim jolts awake and immediately asks what they're doing there. Dodging the question, Ryu tells Hin she wants to sleep with him, and though he is confused, he agrees. Xiao asks to sleep there, and he agrees but insists on taking the spot right in the middle of the bed. The night winds down as Kin curls up in bed, feeling perfectly happy. 2 girls sleep right next to him. Ryu reaches for a sharp sickle to hit Kin, but Shou Vianlin quickly pulls her hand away. Kin wakes up with a jolt as her leg accidentally bumps right into him. He asks her what she's up to. She insists on sleeping alone with him to keep him safe, and the boy agrees. At dawn, Ryu turns to ask if Qin Shuang has a hand in this. He asks what that means and says he's just a regular guy. She steps up to him and asks how he managed to get out of the building. Confused, Qin asks how she could possibly know about that. The girl told me she has a sharp nose, so she took a sniff to check. That building is so scary that only the toughest survive, and she says he has to be just as strong. Qin chuckles, admitting he got lost and owes Xiaoyan for her weapon, which saved his life. Yan steps forward and tells him her aim is pretty good, so she invites him to try shooting with her. Soon after, they find themselves at the shooting range. The girl wonders if Qin is really trying to aim or if his eyesight is just bad. She takes his hand and guides it to show him exactly how to hold the gun. She tells him to relax his arm, stay calm, and not hold his breath while aiming. Then he fires, and the bullet lands almost right in the center of the target. Kits gets excited as the system tells him he unlocked a new long-range shooting skill, but he's confused when the system asks if he wants to upgrade it. Kim realizes he's spent every last zombie core and now needs to save more for the next jump between worlds. Hia asks Yanlin where to find zombie cores, and after Yanlin points out a trade outpost just 2 kilometers away, Kenan gets excited and says they should go there right now. The two of them stepped out and started down the path. The girl taps on the gate. From inside, a man calls out to her to step right in. They walk in and find a man holding a gun at both of them. She asks him if he's still scared of the zombies. The man chuckles, apologizes, and admits he's actually more scared of people than he is about asking her what she wants. Keen looks him in the eye and asks if he's managed to find any zombie cores. The man seriously asks the boy what he has to trade. Keen sets a few cans of food down on the counter. The man is stunned by the huge amount, especially since it comes from the modern day and is so rare here. The kitten snatched the cans back and insisted he wanted to check out the zombie cores first. Laughing, the man says that Kin might look silly, but he's actually pretty smart. The boy says he's the one who said humans are scarier, so it makes sense to stay careful. The man walks away and comes back with a sack full of zombie cores, totaling -11. He explains that while old cans are worth 2 cores each, these new ones are worth 4, so he owes 12, but only has 11. Kin tells him not to worry and hands him another can, but then she makes a request. He tells the man to step right up to the gold bar and tell him if he knows it. The man says he isn't an expert, but that stuff looks like real gold. Kin gets excited and tells the man he seems well connected, so Kin is willing to trade his food for gold to help get more of the metal. The man is baffled and wonders why Kin wants gold, since it's nearly worthless here. Kin tells him not to fret, just grab as much gold as you can since the man is ready to trade for it whenever he wants. Kin recharges the system, leaving him with 24 fresh skill points to spend. He asks to upgrade his long-range marksman 4 times until he unlocks a new power called Calamity Shot. He has 9 skill points left, but the next upgrade will cost 16. The boy grabs the gun and begins shooting. He lands every shot without any trouble at all. Kin tells everyone to shoot the doom bullet. The system warns him that he can only use that special power once every day without paying. Kin asks how to make it work, and the system replies that he just needs to shout doom bullet to bring it to life. Kin complains that it feels too embarrassing. Confused, the system asks if humans don't like yelling and claims it tailored the trigger to his taste, while Kin just grumbles that the system is so annoying. He looks around feeling embarrassed, grabs the gun, points it up, and shouts, "Doom, bullet." A bullet zooms past in a flash. Annoyed, Ryu and Yumlin just stare in total confusion. Kin feels a rush of excitement from his new power, but then he's thrown off because the bullet didn't even scratch the building, making him wonder if it was just an ordinary one. Back at the base, he decides he must study that bullet closer, while the 2 girls get supplies ready for Kin. He jumps and offers to help. Yanlin laughs, saying the weight feels like nothing at all. Kin is impressed that they are evolutionaries. The girl tells the boy that normal survivors can't measure up to them and that very few ever evolve, so he asks if there are any rules to follow and if he might have a chance to change too. Yan looks a bit confused, then explains that there are 3 ways to become an evolutionary. First, you get sick from the virus, but if you survive you might change to keep up with it, which was much easier before the virus changed itself. Second, you can eat a zombie core, and if you don't explode from the power, there's a 10% chance you'll turn into one yourself. Third, they took an evolution potion that had only a 30% chance to work. Kin, buzzing with excitement, asks how they can get those potions. Yelin says she can lead him to the Builders Alliance, where people only care about trade and will do business with Kin as long as he has something to offer, so Kin agrees and tells her to take him there. The next day, Kin wonders why Ryu isn't joining them and why she seems to dislike him, but Yum reveals that Ryu isn't coming because she has a vision problem. Outside, just like every other day, the streets are crowded with zombies. The girl looks around, worried by the growing pile of zombies circling the base, and decides it's time to start cleaning things up. At the shooting range, Rue keeps practicing, but still can't manage to put Kin Shuang out of the game. She spots movement outside, and sees the building Kin shot earlier crumble down. Rue stands frozen, baffled by how the building just vanished from beneath her feet. Down a dark alley, a zombie starts creeping toward you. Yunlin smacks him right on the head. She points out that this main street is crawling with zombies, so save your bullets for when you truly need them. She drops to her knees and pulls the garage door open. Kin wonders if this spot belongs to her, and Youngland replies that it's full of supplies, so it would be best to drive away from here. The prayer vehicle speeds down the road as zombies hotly pursue it. The boy sees monsters creeping up on them, but the girl tells him not to worry. She asks Kin if he is truly sure about becoming an evolutionary, warning him that even the strongest potion can kill. The boy says he's not ready to drink it yet, but he still wants to buy one. Yumlin explains that the Builders Earth Alliance works like a guild, but since they aren't guaranteed to be kind, he shouldn't share his secrets too soon. A zombie smashes straight into the car window. Kin screams in terror while Emlyn points out that they are red zombies and can't believe so many have appeared all at once. She orders Kin to bring them down, and the boy pulls the trigger. When a zombie crashes through the car's roof. Kin, frustrated, asks why he can't kill them, and the girl explains that normal weapons just won't work on the red zombies. Young grabs the zombie's arm and tells Kin to drive fast while she fights them. The girl scrambles up onto the car. She lunges at the zombie with her sharp blade, cutting it cleanly in half. But even more are coming toward you. The young woman cuts down her enemies one by one, but one grabs her foot and tosses her off the vehicle just as she strikes. She hits the hard ground as the zombies rush toward her. Yan shuts her eyes, giving up hope, until Kin steps forward, shining with power. He screams at the zombies to leave his bodyguard alone. Yuman is shocked to see that Kin just wiped out every single red zombie. Just moments ago, the boy was so scared he nearly couldn't make it. Just a minute ago, he watched Yumlin tumble out of the car. He flung the door open and leaped out with all his might. The boy ran as fast as he could at the monsters and quickly knocked them all down. He laughed at them for failing to dodge his bullets. Kin laughs and promises to blow every last one of their heads off. Younglin stares in shock, realizing just how powerful Kin truly is. The boy is thrilled as he gathers zombie cores, but then the ground suddenly shakes beneath his feet. His body just can't take being pushed that fast. Kin grows confused when he can't find one of the zombie cores. Younglin shouts at him, urging him to take a look around. The boy looks around in shock as zombies surround them, wondering where so many of them could have come from. Younglin shrugs, saying she has no clue, and urges them to head back to the car. Kin fires at the swarm, but Yumlin yells for him to save his bullets because there are far too many enemies chasing them. As zombies scramble onto the car and close in, Younglin growls with rage and floors the gas pedal. The car speeds straight over the monsters. Zombie remains shoot out of the exhaust pipe. Ken wonders why the car has stopped, and the girl explains that zombies are trapped beneath it. They're dragging the car down until it's completely stuck in the middle of everything. The boy asks Xiao Yumlin how many bullets are left in her gun, and she replies that there aren't many. He claims he has 10. With 10 bullets not enough to stop the horde of zombies, his only hope left is to fire the Doom bullet. Kin asks the system if he can really get one free Doom bullet every day, and it says yes. He wonders how many more Doom bullets he can buy with the skill points he has left. The system answers that every bullet you shoot costs you 1 point. He scoops up 7 Doom bullets, bringing his total stash to 8. His weapon hums with crackling purple power now. Ken chooses to stay for 2 points because he worries Shio can't escape on her own if the 8 bullets aren't enough to save her. She knows she'll die right here, even though the girl insists their car is tough enough to keep them safe for now. Ken blasts away all 8 shots in a furious burst. Yum grumbles that he shouldn't have blown through all his bullets. She urges him to keep at least one, just in case it comes in handy. Ken wonders why he would bother saving just 1 bullet. The girl says you always keep 1 bullet for yourself because nobody wants to be eaten alive by zombies. In that place, dying is as ordinary as breathing, so she's ready to go, but she just wishes it wouldn't hurt too much. The zombies are still out there, watching and waiting. Suddenly rain begins to fall, and Lin notes that at least they won't have to run, leaving them to hope it will distract the zombies. The zombies just stand there in the rain. Kim complains about the smell, and the girl explains that since zombies are made of flesh, rain makes them stink terribly. As the rain keeps falling and buckets in the back of the car start filling up, it's almost time to fix the hole. She says, it hasn't rained like this in ages, and if the storm keeps up, we might see something truly weird. So Kenna asks, what kind of weird thing? And the girl explains, zombies are basically dead bodies that have lost their moisture, which is why their skin looks so wrinkled, but enough rain could bring that moisture back. Their skin starts to puff up until they look just like they did when they were alive. But it's just a short time. They'll keep soaking up water until their skin splits open, turning them into something terrible, but they won't die. Kin grunted, feeling sick to his stomach. Yanlin urgently points him to look outside. They are looking human once more. She gazes at the zombie peering through the window, wondering if she might have looked just like him when she was alive, perhaps at their age. If she were still alive and the world was back to normal. Kin wonders how things would be if the world were normal, just like everyone else. The girl looks puzzled and admits she'd never considered that life would be peaceful without zombies. She says she wants to run her own pastry shop and then asks Kin if he thinks that's right for her. Ken nods his head, and suddenly, lightning starts crashing down. Ken knows he can't leave her alone, so he decides to rest and use his speed to run away with her. Suddenly, a much fiercer bolt of lightning strikes down. The girl stands frozen, whispering that she has never seen anything like it before. A bolt shoots down from the sky and smashes into a tree, leaving them blinded for a second. Suddenly, a second hit blasts the car and sends the zombies flying, leaving Kin confused before they crash to the ground. They all fall dead as the lightning strikes. She asks him to grab the bodies and clear the path. Kin remarks that they are boiling. As the sun crests the horizon, they finally clear the path. Kin is relieved they made it, and the girl nods in agreement. As the hours drift by, they finally arrive at their destination. The man shouts that a car is coming and tells someone to call the boss. The guard left his post to wake the leader. The man grumbled that it was far too early for anyone to visit. As the two pull up to the gate, a stranger steps out and yells at them to get out of the car. He asks them where they're from and if they need a place to hide. Kin claims they're only here to swap supplies. Once the two walk in, the leader asks Kin what he brought for him. The man sets the can of food Kin gave him on the table, and the leader leans forward to take a closer look. He pops open the can, but the girl grumbles until Kin assures her it's fine, while the man quietly checks if the product is really up to scratch. The leader grins, and the hunger of his followers instantly grows from just the scent. The man scoops up a spoonful. The guards stop to ask if it tastes good. Yun grumbled that he had eaten the entire thing. The leader complains that it's already gone before he can enjoy it, but Kin stays calm and says he has more, then just keeps eating. Yan complains once more after devouring 8 cans that could have been traded, and the burping leader replies that it's not bad since Yan is only 30% full before ordering the guards to eat the rest. They begin to fight over the almost empty cans. The leader tastes the food, declares it delicious, promises to take them to the Lord, and orders someone to guide them to the waiting room. A soldier guides the two of them forward. The town feels calm and safe, with everyone going about their day in peace. Vendors are everywhere, so Kin asks the soldier if the houses are full. He says yes, because the Lord took in refugees who would otherwise have been eaten by zombies. Suddenly, a girl was knocked to the ground and a man began attacking her, screaming that she stole medicine while she begged him to stop and promised she wouldn't steal again. Kin, feeling worried, grabs the man and asks why he is acting so violently. Angry, the man demands if the boy knows what she did and shouts that the girl stole the medicine. Medicine is harder to find than food, and if the Lord wills it, taking it by force will kill you. The girl had stolen from him before, but this time he caught her and is yelling for her to hand over the medicine. The soldier walking with Kitten says not to worry, because the city has its own ways to catch and punish thieves. Kin and Younglin chase the soldier while a man snatched the girl and claimed he'd drag her to the justice office to decide her fate. When they reach another part of the city, the soldier tells the boys the Lord is busy and won't see them today, so he hands them a key to a room where they can wait until tomorrow. The next day, the pair headed off to their rooms. Deep in the heart of the bustling city, an elderly woman halts a passerby to ask if he's spotted her granddaughter, but he shakes his head and says no. Even so, the old lady keeps pushing her point, so the man starts arguing back with her. The worried old woman asks if anyone has seen her granddaughter, who hasn't shown up since yesterday. Kin realizes the lady's granddaughter is the girl from yesterday, and the soldier agrees, promising that she will be told soon so there is no need to worry. Even so, Kin decides to go speak to her directly and tell her that her granddaughter was taken to the justice office. The old woman grows desperate, screaming that her granddaughter was taken and that it is her fault because she is the one who needs the medicine. The soldier grabs Kin and pulls him along, whispering that it's nearly time to meet the Lord, while the old woman turns and mutters about heading to the justice office before she's gone. In a vast hall, a man hurriedly tells the Lord that the merchant Kinkin Shuang is on his way. He asks to be let inside. The Lord stands bare-chested among plenty of women and food. The young man stood there, lost and not knowing what to do. Then the Lord says he only wants to trade with people he knows, but the others insist that Kin's goods are too delicious to ignore. Cannon boasts that his fresh meat is so good everyone loved it, and he asks if the Lord would like to give it a try. The guard carries the cans over to the Lord. He cracks open a can and dives right in to eat what's inside. The taste shocks him, so he grabs the other cans and frantically starts devouring them. He yells that it tastes amazing and beats any meat he's ever had, then orders Kin to hand him everything since he knows how to make a fair trade. Kinnan cheers up, and the Lord, with a smile, asks what he wants in return. The young man asks for zombie cores, an evolution potion, and some gold. He gets lost over the gold until his guard stops him and explains what gold really is. Feeling thrilled, the Lord agrees to make the swap. The man tells his guards to bring him whatever he wants, and he promises to give them the cans in return. Then the young man says he has one last thing to ask. The Lord tilts his head and asks, "What is that?" Kin says a girl stole medicine yesterday and is waiting at the justice office, but he'll let her go if they just take the medicine back. Then the Lord questions the guard, and the guard confirms the truth. He thinks that since Kin is offering medicine to make up for it, they won't suffer any loss. The man promises that once the trade is done, his guards will escort him to the justice office to set the girl free. Kim gives thanks to the Lord. After a while, the guard hands Kin 10 kilograms of gold, 100 zombie cores, and 2 evolution potions. He realizes that while he could learn amazing new powers, his most urgent goal is to head back to the real world to sell all the gold he has gathered. The young lad has no idea just how much money that gold will bring him, but it'll probably be enough to buy a fortune. Then the guard hands Kin a release order from the city's lord and promises to walk him to the justice office. He turns back, wondering where Yan is since she was supposed to be waiting for him. Everyone stands together, whispering in fear. Some are bleeding while others watch in shock. Kin wonders why so many people are gathered at the entrance of the justice office. The soldier shouts for them to move out of the way and demands to know why they are there. With a furious glare, he declares that the Lord will give them endless work so they finally have something to do. Someone tells everyone to stay put because he called them here to watch the consequences of stealing in the Lord's city, and he asks them all to look closely. They could only survive in that ruined world because of the Lord's city, where every single thing belongs to him and defies all other authority. It's a crime punishable by death, and the girl's grandmother is kneeling there, sobbing. Kian is stunned when he sees that. He smashes the release order he is holding with his lure. Behind the man is the girl who stole the medicine, and she's hanging there. The young man wonders if this is some kind of twisted joke. He glared at the hanging girl and screamed at the man, only for Kinnan to seize his uniform and demand to know what a human life is worth, to which the boy replied that she did it just to feed her family. The man claims he's never met Kitten before and guesses that he must be a merchant. He twists the boy's wrist until it breaks, and Kitten feels terrible pain. The man says he gets a pass because he's from out of town. The soldier walking with Kin confirms he is just a merchant and asks for forgiveness for his errors. The man steps forward with Yumland and asks if she came along with him too. The boy stares in stunned silence, then rushes to ask what just happened. Then the man told her she had been caught trying to get into the prison. Steam got so angry over the thief's execution that he wasn't sure if she deserved to be let go. The soldier says that stopping Orchestra and her life would mean the Lord never gets to taste the food they brought to the city again. The man insists he only needs to keep one of them alive. Kin orders the system to upload every zombie core, instantly earning him 200 extra skill points. He can boost his power 3 times using that. The boy asks to take it on, and the system spends 28 points to boost him to level 7 and 50 more to heal his wounds. Kin realizes the man truly means to kill Shia Yumlin, and since he caught her so easily, he must be incredibly powerful. He knows his best bet is to sprint at full speed, snatch Yumlin up, and race out before they can reach them. The boy flicks on his super speed and zooms straight toward the girl. He runs right past the man, snatches Yumlin from the guards, and is gone. Kim says it's time to stop and take a break. The boy is so happy that his power can last even longer. Yumlin screams for help, but the boy shakes his head, tells her not to worry, and says they must run away before it's too late. The two of them step past the city walls and keep going. They halt in the heart of the forest, and Hin feels his energy completely drained. The boy realized it had been a close call, and while Yum apologized, he told her she was not to blame since he should have taken action sooner, and says she's too weak to fight the man who acted so fast, and there was no way anyone could have predicted his speed. Hin questions whether the Justice Chief Kichi is truly that powerful, insisting he must be a level 5. He's puzzled that level 5 is so powerful. The girl says that a new evolutionist begins at level 1, where it's so tough to get stronger that it took her 10 full years just to reach level 3. Each group hires a guardian to keep them safe, though finding one strong enough to level a city with a single strike remains a legend. Ken thinks that even in the end of the world, there are still mighty heroes, and though he hoped the system would let him rule it all, he knows taking over the world won't be easy. Just as Chief Kitschke gets close, Yumlin quickly warns Kin to watch out. The man hits him straight on. The boy shouts out his spot, and the man immediately begins hitting him over and over again. Kitschke even slaps right onto the boy's face. Yum screams at him, and Kitschke seriously asks if they were even told they could leave the city. Kin crashes to the floor, hurt and in pain. Yum lunges at Kitschke but gets struck instead, and as the girl falls hurt, Kitschke grabs her by the neck. Kin pulls an evolution potion from his pocket and gulps it down. He feels a sharp, burning pain while Kitschke watches. Yum panics and asks if he drank the potion that changes you. Kitschke bursts out laughing and lets go of Yumlin just as Kin screams in pain. The Justice Chief laughs until tears stream down his face, then steps up to the boy and demands if Kim would rather destroy himself than lose to him, while the man calls the boy a writhing insect. Kin screams in desperation, flashing back to when he was a kid and answered that he'd never stay with classmates who treated him badly. One day his dad slapped him and ordered him to quit fighting at school so he wouldn't cause him shame. The boy claims they told him he was born but never truly raised. His dad took a swig of his beer and walked off. Years later, his boss told him to stop coming to work, and when Ken asked why, the manager said the boss was just having drinks with interns so he shouldn't have gotten involved and should stop meddling. Ken walked alone through the dark streets until he spotted a man attacking a girl. He walked up to the men and asked what they were up to, but one of them shoved him hard. The boy fought hard and did whatever he could to make the men stop hurting the girl. The men turned to head home since the police were almost there. The woman thanked Kin and begged him to go to the hospital, but he flat out refused. As he walked away, he warned her to leave that spot because it was too dangerous. She ran after him and begged him to stop. She asked if he needed a place to go and then invited him to stay at her apartment. Kinnan told me he was hunting for a place to crash and wanted to know how much the rent cost. The girl beamed with a happy smile and told him the price was surprisingly low. At her home, she welcomed Kin and gave him food. Now he stood in that ruined world, taking a hard beating from Kitschke. The man claims Kin looks like a dead dog, so it seems evolution failed. Inside his head, the boy feels like he's lost. He is stuck in his memories. The odds of reaching level 2 are tiny, and that candidate pushed too hard. He shares with the girl that he helps Jiang Lakshu, telling her that her cooking is so good she should open a restaurant. She is happy and tells him that if he wishes, she will do it for him every single day. The boy starts feeling nervous, so she stands up and walks over to grab the cake she had bought earlier. She sets it down on the table. Kin says it's really tasty, and she replies that she heard the chef who made it has won prestigious awards. He recalls Yumlin telling him she wanted to become a pastry chef. He jumps at the noise, and Jiang Laks quickly asks him what's wrong. He remarks that he feels like he's about to forget something. It grabs Yumlin, who begs him to just kill her, but he refuses to do it. Her face was so beautiful, he felt he could cut out her tendons and offer her as a gift to the Lord. A hand shoots out to seize his shin, bringing Kitchi and Yumlin crashing down to the ground. It's Kin, soaked in blood, standing up. His face turns red with rage as he shouts that the man isn't getting out of there. He snatches Kitchi's clothes and then punches him. He hit the ground hard. Then Kin begins to rain punches on him. Yunlin feels a rush of pride as the Chief of Justice finally takes his last breath, defeated and lying on the ground. The girl worries deeply about Kin. The boy had truly changed and survived, so Yunlin smiled and said she thought he was dead. He laughs, saying it's far too easy to bring him down. Suddenly, something strikes him right in the chest. His hand goes right through him. The girl lets out a desperate scream. Kin is whisked up into the sky. Kitchi declared that the boy's transformation had been a triumph. Kitchi warns that even though Kin has evolved, he's still stuck at level 1 and can't win. Kin clenched his teeth. Something strange began to happen right before Kitchi's shocked eyes. Kin's body drifts upward and hangs suspended in the air. The man can't believe it, since his golden physique should only be possible at level 10. Scared, Kitty spins around and sprints away. He dashes away using his speed power to get out of there. The man wonders how Tin could possibly use the golden abyssal physique so soon after evolving, just like what happened before. Finally, Hidden's whole body glows gold. But with just a simple finger lift, he unleashes his power. The attack hurtles straight toward Kitchi. The man gets struck by a huge explosion that kills him instantly. When a lord stands in the city, wondering what strange shaking he feels and if a mighty power is moving past him. In Faction 17, the chief can feel the force humming beneath his feet. In the middle of the forest, Kin suddenly loses consciousness. Yoon grabs him just as the girl screams, her heart racing from fear for his life. She reaches out to plug his wound, but the red is pouring out faster than she can stop it. Suddenly, his wounds knit themselves back together all by themselves. The girl stares in shock, then scoops him up in her arms, ready to rush him to a doctor. The Lord steps into the forest, only to find the aura has already faded away. He wonders why this strong presence is near him and hopes he hasn't upset anyone. Deep inside their secret hideout, someone starts pounding on the door with all their might. A woman opens the door and gets shoved back by Yilin and his kin. She grumbles that if the girl smashes the door, she'll have to foot the bill. Desperate, Yilin pleads with the doctor to save the boy. The woman says it feels really weird. Tian worries if Qin Shuang is alright, and she replies that his vital signs are dangerously weak, leaving him in a condition she can't explain. She looked inside him and saw a huge patch of metal where his womb should be, a strange shield that saved his life but was unlike anything she had ever seen before. Evelina wonders if he will be alright. The woman admits she can't promise anything because things feel strange, so the girl asks what's happening, and the woman replies that they should just leave him there for a few days. Meanwhile, the leader of Faction 17 tells his team to follow him. The group is confused, and the man claims he's humiliated them enough, so now it's their turn to get revenge. He tells them not to worry because he won't hurt them. The group stares at him before turning their fists against their own leader. After the beating, the man realized his subordinates didn't even hesitate to hit him. He knocks at the doctor's door. She opens the door to find the man injured again, begging Dr. Zhao for help. She grumbled that this was his third visit in a month and that he keeps getting hurt, but he just shrugged and said it's part of his job. Yunlin jumps with a start when she spots him standing right there. She recalls that the final time she saw him, he had threatened her. The girl is confused about why he is there and wonders if his group doesn't have a doctor. If he spots them, he'll likely have them surrounded, so she must make a quick escape. The man tries to enter, but Dr. Zhou stops him, saying a patient is inside and pointing him to the other side instead. As Zhao steps back into the room, he is startled and asks Yumlin what she is doing. She struggles to pull Qin away even though the woman says he can't move, because she insists they must get out of there. Someone pushed the door open, and there stood the man from Faction 17. He draws his pistol and fires, but Xiao dives onto the man's back and he yells that since those two took out dozens of his men, he is going to finish them both. The man says he has already sent his message to his group. Zavallo snaps, screaming that he can't kill anyone there because he's just her patient. If he ever lays a hand on her patients, he'll never ask for her help again. She's so angry she warns everyone not to mess with her patients. The man finally settled down and promised he wouldn't bother her patients. Then he says to Yumlin they have a few more days to go, but he will send men to block off the whole place. He points to the pair and declares that his song seals their fate, promising that once they step outside, it will be the end for them. The system tells Kin that he has evolved and gained a new talent, leaving the boy in shock that he sacrificed 3 years of his life just to reach level 5 and defeat a powerful opponent. One day the voice says it never thought Kin would become an evolutionist just through willpower, and then asks who is speaking. The voice tells a confused Kin that he's an old man whose growth will unlock new powers, promising that if he follows this path all the way to the end, they will finally meet there. As the day comes to an end, Dr. Zhou calls it pure magic because the patient has been completely healed in just 1 day, something she has never seen happen so quickly. Yan wonders why he hasn't woken up yet. Yao realizes he should be awake and thinks he needs a little push to get going. She lands a punch on the boy, waking him up with a startled gasp. Kin asks if she's a monster and why she did that. The doctor said he is doing well and getting better every day. Young calls out to the boy, telling him to put on some clothes. Soon enough, Kin wonders if Faction 17 is closing in, and Yunlin confirms that they are. She tells him she could fight Kiasong if she wasn't still hurt from the last battle, so the boy named Angril says he's going out to help her. Pigman agrees to go with him, but Kin insists she stay behind and rest. He grins and promises he can take on all of them by himself. Outside, a man tells Sayong why not just attack and end it, but Sayong replies that he promised Dr. Xiao. Another man suggests the doctor leaves to buy medicine so they can sneak into the house while she's gone. Feeling pumped, Axia Song insists the plan will work and tells everyone to get moving. He yells at the men to grab their weapons, bring Kin down and leave the girl alive. Suddenly the doctor's door swung open. Aksong stares in confusion at Kin, who insists they have no need to approach since he has already made the journey to them. Miamision sees the boy and erupts in rage at his audacity, snapping at his men to kill him instantly. Suddenly several energy beams start to wrap around Kin. He stands with a confident grin as the status panel springs to life. Now Kin can see everyone's power level, and while all the others are just level 1, Song stands out as the only level 3 fighter. Meanwhile, Kin is a level 1 evolutionist, and the system boosts his speed and strength to give him a 90% chance of winning. He dashes through the crowd of foes, striking them down until he reaches his target to deliver a final punch. All the men hit the floor, completely stunned into silence. With a surge of anger, he shouts that the last time he saw Kin, she was just an ordinary human. The boy argues that using weapons would have killed everyone, so he gives them a chance to live, but Chin commands them to kneel and bark like dogs. He told the merchant at his hideout that this was all the gold he could find. Kin says that's exactly what he wanted, and hands him a few cans of food. The boy walks away, telling the man to keep piling up gold for him. The man is puzzled because Kin wants gold, since everyone else usually trades food cans for zombie cores. Kin keeps 20 kilograms of gold for himself, tells Jan he's heading out to find more food and water, and then the boy asks for the dimensional jump. As he opens his eyes, a knock comes at the door. He opens it, and his face drops in worry when he sees Jang Locker. She hugs Kin, and when the boy asks why she's so scared, she tells him he vanished for days. He quickly made up an excuse, claiming he was too busy with work and couldn't get a cell signal. The girl gets so angry that she demands to know when he plans to vanish again, and she's about to call the police. Kin nods nervously and lets everyone know he gets it. Then he tells her he's giving her a gift to say sorry. Jang Lokui insists she needs nothing and tells him not to waste money on her. Kin tells her not to worry because he made some money recently, so they can go shopping now and she can pick whatever she wants. About Jang Loki tells them they're in a fancy shop, but Kin just keeps walking right past her. He tells her to grab whatever she likes since he's finally got enough cash to buy several, and Jang Loki asks how he managed to get so much money. Kin talks to the clerk and asks her to show him the best stuff. She slides the pearl necklace around the girl's neck. She kisses him on the cheek, tells him she loved it, and promises that whatever gift he gives will be even better. The boy agrees to take it and asks the clerk to wrap it up. Kin says he'll zoom down to the bank to drop off a few things and be back in a jiffy. At the bank, the boy asks if they buy gold, and the woman says yes before asking how many grams he wants to sell. The boy opens his backpack for the banker. While we're in a different room, the manager bursts in. He apologizes to Kin for keeping him waiting and asks to see the gold, so the boy points him to the backpack. He stands frozen, staring in total disbelief at what he's just seen. Kin tells the man to check if it's real gold and says it weighs 20 kilos. After a while, the manager asks Kin to sign a paper to finish the swap. As Kin walks away, a bank worker turns to the manager to ask how much they pay the boy. The man claimed the gold was nearly pure and worth $6.5 million in cash. Kin steps back into the fancy store and gets a sudden scare. Jang Luxi is locked in a heated argument with the woman. She claims the necklace belongs to her, but the woman insists she hasn't paid for it yet, so she can't just take it. Kin asks what's happening, and Jang Luxi says a woman stole her necklace. The woman slides the money across to the clerk and tells him she's ready to buy the necklace. Kin slides a gold coin across the table and offers to buy the necklace. That lump of gold would have bought dozens of those necklaces. She shouted in anger that the gold was fake. The clerk tells the woman that the necklace is already booked, so paying first won't let her take it. She carefully wraps up the jewelry and passes it over to Zhang Lakshu. The woman bursts out of the store, furious. Zhang Lu suggests they head to the market for some shopping, and Kin happily agrees. A can crashes down hard on the boy's head. There's a bunch of guys with scary looks on their faces. The woman told the men to follow the couple, but one of them was furious because they had stolen his girlfriend's necklace. The group walks up with angry faces and says they're just looking for trouble. Kim drags Zhang Laki right behind him. The girl screams for Qin Shuang to run, but he doesn't move, so the boy turns and leads Zhang Lakui toward the market, while she wonders where the rest of the group has gone. She looks down and sees everyone lying unconscious on the ground, while Qin shakes his head and says he has no idea what happened. Zhang Lok and Qin kept things calm until the girl's uncle showed up. She asks him how he found her and if he put a tracker on her phone. The man asks if she's forgotten her promise to her father, tries to take her home, but Qin steps in front to stop him, refusing to go back and telling him to leave. With fury, the man declares that Qin is of no use to Zhang Lux. Her father is already hunting for a good husband for her, and the moment he finds one, she'll be married off. The man asked Zhang Luaku if she remembered what her father had said he would do if she said no. Her father told Qin that he'd hire someone to buy him and then throw him into the river. Zhang Luxi lowers her head to say she knows and will go back with him, but Qin stops her and tells him to wait. He wondered if Zhang Laku would stay by his side once he finally made it big. The man sneered and asked if he meant having over $6 million in the bank. He snaps Qin back to reality by telling him to stop dreaming and only return once he hits 600 million a year. Qin stares at the 600 million, realizing he simply can't get Zhang Lux without that exact amount. He'll put aside that money and then head off to find her. At base GO4, a man asks if the soldier found the black crystals he's looking for, and the soldier nods yes, revealing that the Earth Alliance wants thousands of them in return. The man snaps at the ridiculous cost, wondering if they're trying to drain his life right out of him. The soldier explained that if he can't pay the asked price, they'll just sell it to someone else, so he'd better forget about it. Meanwhile, the man thinks that even though it costs a fortune, if he buys it and gives it to the right person, he'll get all the support he needs, and everything will be his. The man promises to handle it and tells the soldier to go get whatever he needs. Far away, Kitten shouts that he's returned from his trip and is carrying a mountain of bags and suitcases. Yellen was shocked to see him return with even more than before. Caden goes on to list his haul, leaving Yonglin puzzled as she wonders why he bought so much flour. The boy claims he wants to make them some sweet treats. He recalls her telling him she dreamed of becoming a pastry chef. The girl declares that her duty is to guard Qin, so there's no time left to bake any sweets. Qin takes a step forward and tells her she isn't fully healed yet and needs to rest at the base. With a smile, Ruyo says she's off with him and Qin agrees, but Yumlin steps in to stop it. She asks her sister if she plans to have Qin killed on the road and why her friend thinks she would be so cruel. Ruyo promises to stop freeload and work with Qin Xuan, so the boy tells them they're leaving tomorrow. Qin finally shows up at base GO4. He wonders why the entrance is so narrow, but Ruyo explains that it's perfect for defense against zombies and enemies since it's easy to guard and hard to breach. Deep inside, two men are carrying a heavy box. The chief wonders if that's the treasure and tells them to open it right away. Inside the stone staff, he claims it looks ordinary and wonders if it's a fake. As he threatens to touch it, they scream at him to stop. That staff is so deadly it can poison even an evolutionist in just minutes if you touch it. Even a powerful level 5 evolutionist can only hold it for 15 minutes before it becomes too toxic, leaving the man in shock and wondering why anyone would ever want it. He asks if they really checked that the item was genuine, and the soldier nods and says yes. They tried the device on 5 people who didn't believe in evolution, and all 5 instantly changed right after touching it. The man feels happy and relieved to let his helper take care of everything. The commander is summoned as 2 traders have just arrived eager to strike a deal. They've got a bag packed with canned food. His face lights up with excitement as he calls it a lifesaver, noting that he's broke so this is perfect. While Qin and Ruyo waited for their commander, the girl told the boy she'd never been to that base, and he calmly reassured her that she didn't need to be afraid since he needed money right away. The commander, feeling excited, rushes over to say sorry for keeping them waiting. He claims he heard they brought trade goods and asks if he can take a look. Ken ripped open the bags to reveal them, leaving the man speechless as he realized just one Ken was worth a fortune, and there were nearly 100 of them inside. He nods to his guard and asks what they want, and Ruyo replies that they are looking for zombie cores, gold. The soldiers slam the door shut. Ruyo questions the commander's strange actions, but the man just smiles and insists it's no big deal, only wanting to make sure they truly understand the worth of everything around them. Then the commander shouts at his men to grab the 2. Ruyo shouts at Qin for just standing there and screams for him to run. He draws a deep breath and wonders why everyone in this ruined world acts so strangely. All he wants is to keep things peaceful and do business. The boy zips past the stunned soldiers with super speed. He uses his hands to grip the rock and pull himself up the wall. Now that his legs are strong, he can leap high and far with power. He now moves with sharp, fast precision to land powerful hits. Before you even notice, he's taken out his opponent. The commander stood frozen with his jaw dropped, unable to say a word after watching Qin wipe out every single one of his soldiers. Ruvio can't stop wondering just how much power Qin Shuang holds. In a last-ditch effort, the commander claims it was all a mistake, but Qin won't listen to a single word. After taking a beating, the man groans in pain and admits that he messed up. Qin asks the man why he made him do that and says he doesn't like it. The commander promises to give him anything he wants and make the deal he desires. Ryo snaps at Qin, furious that they plan to trade them off after setting them up, only for Qin to nod and say it will happen. Ryo calls himself an idiot and wonders how he can trust that man. Qin admits that even in this doomsday world, there are plenty of fake friends hiding among the good ones, but once those wolves are tamed, everything runs smooth. The commander nods in agreement, telling us that for someone as skilled as Qin, all there is to give is respect. Then the man leads the pair to see the things they need for their trade. He opens the box they just got to show them inside. Kenna leans in and wonders what that thing is. He held up a snap stick and complained, saying that wasn't what he had asked for. With shaking hands, the commander admits he sold everything just to buy that stick, so he has no choice but to trade it, while the man promises it's a rare treasure that will make your hits hit harder and urges Qin to give it a try. The boy picks up the stone staff and wonders if it's truly this powerful. While the commander thinks the boy is foolish, he knows that in just 5 seconds of holding that object, the boy will be poisoned. He smiles, knowing for sure that Qin is already dead. But Qin halts and says the man should try it himself. The man tries to dodge the issue by saying Qin should test it himself. The boy says no but asks him to try it anyway. The commander pauses, and Qin steps up to ask what's bothering him. Qin wraps the staff in a cloth and asks the man to take it. He retreats in fear, but Qin, seething with rage, yells for him to grab the object with his bare hands. A heavy object crashes down right beside the commander's feet, sending him into a panic, but the young Qin demands to know if the commander thinks the boy doesn't even recognize what it is. The boy told the commander he'd given him a second chance, but since the commander didn't care about it, the boy can't blame him for walking away. Ryo asks Qin to put him out of his misery. The commander opens his mouth to speak, but Qin snaps his hands around the commander's throat and pulls tight. He throws himself down and pleads for his life. Qin glares at him with pure hatred. He still remembers the girl he once saw hanging. The man gasped for air, but nothing came into his lungs. Qin looks at Justice Chief Kichi, who asks if he really feels the weight of a life in his hands. The boy jumps at the sudden noise and lets go of the commander. Qin spins around and tells Ruryo to pack their things because they're leaving. Our girl wonders why Qin hasn't killed her yet after he tried to take them out earlier. She wonders if he just can't bring himself to watch the man suffer, so she suggests he could simply poison him or chop off his head. Qin turns to her angry side and orders her to shut up. Then Qin grabs the stone staff as payment for the commander's attempt on his life. Ruryo thinks the boy is a coward for being too scared to kill anyone, even though his many powers are just useless tricks. That boy isn't strong enough to keep his sister safe. Just as they turn to go, the commander calls out and asks them to stay put. Nervous, he asks Hin if he can save the base. She glares and snaps, "Do you think we did this for free?" The commander pleads for their help, promising that if they succeed they can take whatever they want from the base. The worried man says they are seconds away from dying and the base will be destroyed unless someone helps them. Ruryo challenges the man, asking if he's still pretending to be clever while daring to ask for his own death. The man explained that they sent so much food to get a level 5 evolutionist to help, but since the others still wanted more and there was nothing left, they were forced to steal. He tells him to follow and promises that once he sees, he'll finally understand. The man points the way to the two of them. A row of charred bodies lay hidden in the muddy ditch. The commander told Qin that all his men were killed in one day, and when Qin asked why, the man said they lose more soldiers every single day, not because of outsiders. It's all thanks to the base leader. To stop the sickness from spreading, they must burn every body each day. If you get too close, you'll feel your stomach turn from the smell of burning flesh. Ruryo questions his leader's sanity, warning that if they keep moving forward, they will destroy everyone in the base. The man nods in agreement, explaining that this is exactly why he chose to bring down the leader. Qin wonders if that's why he spent so much cash on a level 5 evolutionist, and he nods to confirm it. But a single level 5 isn't enough, they need at least 3 of them working together. Their boss is a level 7 evolutionist. The leader of the base stomps through the streets, slaughtering and terrifying the people. With a single move, he can steal anyone's life. Gary tells them that everyone has to meet their end. Down at the bottom, the men huddle in front of 2 other scientists, and one of them shouts that the third level 5 is gone. He asks the commander if he's pulling a fast one on them. The commander shakes his head, promising an explanation since he lacks another level 5 but has someone else who can handle those levels. Evolutionists look puzzled as one asks a soldier if he is the super evolutionist, but the man shakes his head and says he's just a level 4. The commander points to Qin Shuang and tells us that this man is incredibly powerful. The man looks at the boy and asks if he can take on a level 5 evolutionist, to which the boy replies that he has done it before. Then the man bursts into laughter, shouting, "That's a ridiculous joke." He claims Commander Lai was tricked by a kid, and since the world ended no one has even reached level 3, yet Qin thinks he can beat level 4. The boy admits he only survived his last fight with a level 5 because he got lucky, and though he doubts he can beat such strong opponents, he's still ready to give it his all. He says that if he loses he'll walk away. Qin says that if he loses, he'll give the man 100 cans of food, so he asks what the man. The boy wears a special glove that stops poison from hurting him. Commander Lai tells them to stop wasting energy and just forget about the fight. But the evolutionist says if Qin can't beat level 4 he's done, because he won't risk his life for a kid. Later, Qin tells the man this isn't a fight to the death, just a competition. The man nods in agreement and they step forward until they are standing directly face to face. Someone gives the signal to kick off the game. The man lunges at Qin, but the boy protects himself by striking back with a staff that holds poison. The staff rang out, and Qin realized that punch had been truly powerful. Besides that, the man is incredibly fast, so he must use his strongest skill right away. The man tells Kitten he's dodging a few punches now, but is still too weak to beat a level 4 fighter, then he knees him hard. Kitten tumbles to the ground and wonders if every level 5 is actually a monster. The boy bolts, and the man screams at him to stop running like a coward. The kitten glances back and spots the man approaching, knowing this is his moment. He plans to finish this all in one swing. The boy rushes forward and strikes the man with his stone staff, but the man doesn't even flinch. Qin asks what it feels like when it hurts so much, then reveals that the move is called the Bloodline Annihilator. The man stands frozen, watching every move, while Commander Lee asks the other evolutionist if his older brother has a wife. But he reassures the commander not to worry, saying his brother will take care of it, though the commander remains concerned that the staff is so toxic and asks if the brother can really handle it. The man gets swallowed by a blue light and flings his staff across the room, sending Qin flying with it. Qin smashes into the earth, scraping the dirt as he crashes. The man lunges forward and slams a hard punch right into his face. Looking down, he tells Qin that he has lost. He says the boy is truly amazing for a level 1, since beating a level 3 or a weak level 4 isn't even considered special. Even so, the man tells him to go home and train more, since he can only use brute strength throughout the entire fight. The man shouts at his brother to get out, and the commander freezes in panic. The man tells the commander they'll keep their promise, but only if that level 5 shows up and isn't just a kid. Someone chuckles and agrees that he's right. It's a strange person who claims Brad is useless, and that Commander Lai should have called him instead. Qin is stunned to find his staff and glove stolen, only to be told by a stranger that he's been using the staff all wrong. The boy loses his mind and screams that the zombie is speaking. The person takes offense and yells that he's human, but Qin apologizes, admitting he spun his head so fast that he got confused. Commander Lai beams with joy at seeing his brother Hojami and eagerly asks if he's finally decided to help. Amy insists he's not coming for them, but for the wonderful staff he's been looking for all along. He grumbled that the staff had been handed over to him. Outraged, Hojami grabs the commander and demands to know if what he just heard is actually true. The commander explains that he spent a fortune on that staff for Hei, but insists that she must accept their help. The weirdo says, "If you just please me, I'll take it." The commander tells Shin to relax and admits he had no choice, but promises a reward if the boy decides to stay and help. Kaden offers to stay and lend a hand, but only if we agree to one thing. The boy declares that once this is done, he will be the only one allowed to handle all the base's trades, making him the single source for everything. The man asks if Qin can bring food and medicine, and Qin says yes, he'll sell it all cheap for just a bit of gold. The commander nods, thinking that sounds like a great bargain, and gives his approval. The level 5 evolutionist hides his pain, and once everyone is gathered, the commander thanks them for agreeing to help before revealing the plan. To make sure everyone understands each other, the commander begins by introducing himself. One of the evolutionists, a man named Fang Wu, who can turn his body into an unbreakable shield against bullets, introduces himself. His brother, a level 5 mage named Fang Wen, claims he can turn anything he touches into ice. Ab introduces himself with a giggle, revealing he's also level 5. Kit stepped forward to introduce himself as a level 1 capable of gathering energy, while Ruyu followed by revealing she is a level 2 who can compute faster than any computer. The man starts laying out their capture plan, introducing Yi, the level 7 base leader who can turn his whole body into liquid. His secret power makes him hard to catch, so the plan is to trick him into a hidden room first. Gumi lets out a gas to freeze his nerves, while Fang Wu Qinwan and the guards hold him down as Fang Wen blasts the area with freezing cold. Next, they'll trigger the mechanism and he'll be locked inside a special box. Fang Wu thinks the plan looks good, but Hoji laughs at the thought of his special ability being discovered, and the man quickly asks when they will put it into action. The commander says they can't afford to lose any more, so they'll push ahead with the plan first thing tomorrow. The next day, Commander Lee manages to trick the leader into following him. The moment they step into the strange room, the door shuts tight, and the leader wonders if Commander Lee is about to kill him. The leader drenches the commander in swirling liquid, but Fang Wu rushes forward to take the hit. He shouts a lie to tell her to turn back. The leader rages as Havyan lunges with his staff from behind, only to be stopped by Qin, who yanks him back seconds before the blow lands. Havyan thanks the boy for being nicer, but Qin yells at him not to touch him. Fang Wu lunges to punch the leader, but he gets stopped and the leader slices his arm. The man was stunned to realize his defenses had been breached. The leader warns that high-pressure, high-speed liquid can slice through almost anything. Fang Wen closes the distance and steps right up to the enemy. He freezes the leader's attack liquid, and Fang Wu hurls him far away. The leader goes wild and lunges at Fang Wen, but Qin steps in fast to save him. Just as he was about to hit the leader, Fang Wu yelled, "Stop looking around and focus on me." The man strikes the leader down, shouting that his defense has crumbled and now is their moment to strike. Fang Wen whispers, "Now is our time," and Qin rushes him straight to Ye. The evolutionist tries to freeze him, but a swirling whirlpool of water blocks his way. Qin asks if the man is dead, but he shakes his head and says no, though it looks like the leader ran away to escape. The liquid splashes onto the floor. Commander Lai screams at the guards to lock the door and stop Yi from running away. Then the leader starts to change things around. Fang Wen watches in amazement as he stands completely covered in water. Lai's heart races as he realizes the move Yi is about to make. Commander yells at the soldiers to duck behind their shields. Yi starts swinging his blade wildly in every direction, slashing through the air. It breaks right through the shields. The captain takes a hit, and Fang Wu yells for everyone to hide behind him. He keeps pushing forward while Li shouts that they've broken through, giving them the perfect chance, but Yi's big move left him weak and stuck as a liquid for 10 seconds, so it's finally Fang Wen's turn to strike. Qin pulls him right up close. The man begins to freeze the leader. Yi starts turning back into a human. Fang Wen claims that within just 10 seconds, they can freeze everything in place. Yi is trapped in a cold world made of ice. Fang Wen wraps things up. Qin nodded, saying it seemed to have worked. They hold their breath and stare as the ice starts to break. Fang Wen, in pure desperation, screams that he is breaking free. Hubai steps forward, reassuring Fang Wen that he is right there to help. The man pours a liquid right into the block of ice. His poison can sneak all the way around his body. With a creepy grin, Hojami declares that Yi is doomed to sleep forever, and that no one can ever escape without his antidote, right before a solid block of ice suddenly forms. The captain confirmed that their plan had worked. The leader finally fell. That night, inside a great hall, the commander and his friends cheered and danced to celebrate their big win in the battle. He thanks everyone for their help and declares that the base is finally free of that tyrant. To show their thanks, they piled the table high with food, and Qin ate with joy. Lai also claims he asked some lovely ladies to come chat with them. Qin and Fang Wang turn nervous while Hubjam acts excited, but when they see the stunning women, everyone gets super enthusiastic and starts chatting, with one woman asking Shin if he's the young hero of the base. Ruo watches and thinks that all men are exactly the same. Later, with everyone drunk, the commander ordered them to be led off to their rooms. Two women lift Qin and gently lay him down in his bed. People joke that he's cute because he gets drunk so easily. One of them sees he's sweating a lot and tells him he needs a bath to cool down. As Fang Wen chats with two girls, he tells them that Captain Lai truly gets him. They choose to stay up all night just talking. In another room, Hojami giggles and says the girls Lai brought are absolutely gorgeous. They jump at his odd behavior, but the man calmly says he means no harm. In Fang Wu's room, he waves the girls away, declares that's enough, and tells them they're free to go. Then he slams the door right in their faces. In Qin's room, the girls gently wipe him down with a damp cloth. One of them says he'll probably sleep right through the night, just like the commander ordered them to take good care of him. But they agreed to give him one last cleanup before heading out so he could finally get some rest. But then something grabs their attention, so they choose to stay and keep Qin company through the night. As the sun rises, someone suddenly smacks Qin across the face. Ryo tells him he partied too hard last night and it's time to wake up, then asks how long he plans to stay there. She grabs him by the ear and yells for that pervert to stand up. Loud shouts burst out from inside the room. Fang Wu and Fang Wen walk down the long hallways together. Fang Wen is struggling with back and leg pain, so his brother reaches out to ask if he's alright. The young man nods, and Commander Lee wonders if they're really leaving this soon without staying a few more days, but the brothers shake their heads, saying they've got other jobs to finish. The little kitten promises to bring everything the base needs and says he'll be back in 3 days. Hyun tells Qin that being a merchant isn't enough for him and asks if he'd rather join him. If Qin trails him, he'll show him how to level up fast. Fang Wen warns Qin not to trust him, arguing that if things were truly this amazing, Hogjiang would have already evolved, and he even points out that he once saw Hogjiang with a young boy who has since disappeared. Fang Wu throws something to Qin. He leans forward and asks, "What is this?" The man told them it's a walkie-talkie so they can stay connected, and that his group needs someone with Qin's special talents if they want to join. All he needs to do is talk into the gadget, and then they'll say their goodbyes. 3 days later, a man tells the new leader, Lei, that Qin Huang is back. The man asks if the supplies were brought, but the soldier says he'd better see for himself. Qin arrived pulling 3 trucks along with him. Diao fell silent because Qin managed to deliver everything he asked for in just 3 days. The boy tells Lai he brought everything and asks him to check it. They organize everything, and one worker says he's never seen so many supplies. With those resources and fertilizers, the base will finally feed itself and no one will ever go hungry again. Leah turns to Shin and asks if he's actually a god, wondering how he managed to gather so many supplies. Qin shifts the topic and insists Lai pay his promise, promising to bring whatever is needed. The soldier tosses the bag to Qin and calls it his reward. The boy wondered why there was so little food if he had brought 3 full trucks. Then Lai reveals a bag of black crystals, saying they are worth far more than the zombie cores he first promised. Hayden grips a glowing crystal, and the system suddenly tells him that one of these objects can store 100 ability points. He is stunned to see how a tiny piece holds 50 times the power of a zombie core. Lai claims he has the gold he promised, and yells for Qin to come over. The man admits they scoured the place but dug up nothing but dust. He lifts the lid on a crate stacked with gold bars and asks if there's enough. Qin nods in agreement and thanks him. Later at the hideout, Kitten tells Yumlin and Ruyo he'll be away for a few days, and they both agree. The boy comes back to the real world with a box of gold that feels way too heavy for his old back. Qin finds a painting hidden under the lid. He stares at what looks like an old piece of art and tries to read the name, but the words are in English. Qin reads the name Picasso and decides it sounds pretty strange. He carefully lifts the painting and pins it to the wall. Another day, 2 men stare at a painting. One of them admits the piece is pretty strange, but he insists the 200 million he spent to make it was totally worth it. Another man says Zhang Laku is on the blind date they set up for her and tells Uncle Xiao to keep an eye on his daughter so she doesn't cause trouble, and Zhao says he can do that. Zhao wonders what to do about Qinhuang since they still haven't found where he gets his gold, so he suggests calling the police. The man tells Zhao not to call the police because he personally ordered the gold buy from a well-connected boy who needs the metal, but Zhang Laku must never end up in the boy's hands. The man is looking for a son-in-law who is strong and truly worthy. At their blind date, the boy asks Zhang Lui if she liked the restaurant he chose, and she tells him she did. He mentions that her dad thinks she stays home too much and invites her to visit his family's island instead. But Zhang Luokui says it's not needed, and she doesn't care. The man tries to convince her and asks where she wants to go, suggesting a trip to another continent, but she says no. She insists she'll be honest, admits she was forced to come to the date, and says she has no interest in seeing him again. Jen Locke stands up, calls the boy a playboy, and declares that since they've finished eating, she's done wasting time. She walks away while the man, feeling irritated, grumbles that she was ungrateful. When night falls, Zhang Laku makes his way back home. Her dad is there, telling her he heard about her dinner. She snaps at him, demanding to know why he's here. He asks her if she can't even call them father after all they've been through. Zhang Locke tells him to leave, saying she has nothing more to say and will call the police if he shows up again without being invited. Her dad warns that if she keeps scaring people away, she'll drive off all the candidates from the best families. Furious, Zhang Locksweet yells that he's just using her for his own benefit, reminding her that she already has someone who loves her. The man tells the boy sternly that he's nobody who won't make her happy, and besides, he refuses to let her run the business. Zhang Laqui challenges him on how he knows Qin isn't qualified, reminding him that she was just a nobody back in her youth and that she doesn't care about business, only about being happy. He asks if she'll keep doing this even if it means Qin Shuang dies, because if she doesn't listen, the boy will just vanish. The girl tells her dad he's driving straight to death. Just as he once pulled her mother along, he plans to do the same to her. The man shouts at her to be quiet, but Jen Luxud screams back that he's exactly the kind of guy who drove her mother crazy. He gives her a hard slap across the face. She stares at him with pure hate in her eyes. While everyone else is busy, Qin stays in his room scribbling down a list of things he needs to buy. When the doorbell rings, he wonders who could be visiting at such a late hour. Jiang Lakshu asks why she didn't call him, since he was planning to visit her the next day. He feels excited and says he won't need a year, because he'll have enough money soon to get her father to accept him. She kisses him and the boy suddenly gets all nervous. She steps closer, but Kim backs away and asks her to wait. He asks if something happened because of her father. She tells him to leave all that behind and give his full attention just to her. Jiang Lux steps closer, tells him she missed him and asks for a tight hug. Later that night, Qin stands nervously before Zhang Lux. She asks him to help fix up her outfit. He helps her, and she happily settles onto the bed to thank him. Qin, feeling shy, thinks about how beautiful she is. So the two choose to talk all night to distract themselves and make the time pass. Lying in bed, Qin realizes that at just 20 years old, his past was full of nothing but struggle, but now everything has finally turned around. There stands Zhang Laku, a man of immense kindness who cares deeply for him. He realizes he is blessed that a woman like her has chosen a man like him, so from now on, his only job is to make her happy and keep her safe. Qin glances to where she should be sleeping and finds an envelope, leaving him confused. He reads the letter and learns she is sailing to a faraway land where she can't name the destination, leaving her father behind to protect him from the pain of Qin, so they must say goodbye. But she refuses to leave the man she loves and run, instead planning to return once she is strong enough to stand up to her father and make him remember her, while Zhang Lux, who made the first move the night before, should wait for her to come back. Qin stands speechless before eventually stepping back into the ruined world. He stumbles into the hideout, battered and broken, and shouts that he's finally home. Yunlin wonders why he looks like that, while Ruyo questions if he couldn't find any supplies. Aiden tells them he brought more than enough food to keep them going for months, but he'll be gone for a while. Ruyo looked puzzled and asked if they weren't supposed to sell the supplies to get more gold. The boy admits he is heartbroken and says even gold can't fix it right now. The girls are stunned, and Yanlin realizes that Qin must have a girlfriend. Rui is shocked to hear she didn't think he had one, while Qin insists they weren't even dating when she left, and he wonders why she didn't even say goodbye. She could cut off his line, leaving him lost and wondering where she went. Qin tries to walk away, but Ruo stops him right before he goes. She asks if this is just a breakup and tells him to find someone else, but he says she doesn't understand how he feels. He's completely broken, too drained to even look for someone new. She grabs his arm and pulls him closer. Qin gets scared, but Ruyo tells him that if he brings her good food, she might just reward him. Qin gets sidetracked, but the girl notices he doesn't look like someone who has run out of energy. And she shoves him away and tells him it's finished. He's had plenty of her attention already. Qin looks downcast again, saying that just that won't cheer him up. Yanlin steps into the chat and asks if he's willing to accept her kindness. Qin says yes, but he wants to give her a hug. While Ruvio takes a bite of bread, her sister keeps her eyes fixed on Qin. He squeezes her tight, and though the girl complains, Qin says it hasn't even been 30 seconds yet. Ruvio watches the scene and finds the sight quite funny. Way off in the distance, a soldier questions Captain Lee about the danger of unfreezing Yi to get the dark energy, fearing that if he wakes up, the results will be beyond even their worst nightmares. Lai claims their base is only respected because of Yi's power, so now that he's gone, anyone can take it at any moment and they can't wait much longer. Lai commands his men to go and bring Ho Yanmai. The soldier nods in agreement and walks away. Lee steps up to the ice, and the man admits he has no idea what Yi saw that drove him mad. But it came along at just the perfect moment. For ages, he turned down the chance to grow his lands even though he had the strength to rule over every nearby area. His inability to choose brought him low, leaving Lee to crave his power. He intends to use that power to rule the distant lands. Yumlin is getting annoyed by Qin and thinks she's already driving her crazy.